All right, welcome inside Studio 1452 here at Michigan Chronicle. I'm joined here this afternoon with the one and only Mr. Kevin Johnson. He's the president and CEO of the Detroit Economic Growth Corporation. Good to have you, Kevin.
Good to be here, Andre. How you been?
I'm doing very well. I see
Good.
you in the community and a lot of different functions. There's a lot of different exciting
Yeah.
things are happening across the city, and
Mhm.
you're part of making that happen.
Well, we're very fortunate to be able to be in a position to do that, and we have had some great momentum, particularly coming out of the pandemic, and we utilize some of the tools that have been made available to us to help Detroit's economy continue to grow and flourish.
Yeah, absolutely. And, small business has been a part of that,
Yes.
growing that base in the city to provide economic opportunities for entrepreneurs, job creation. But first, let's walk back a little bit and let's talk
Yeah.
about the average Detroiter. What is the DEGC and how does it help flourish economic development in the city?
So our organization is a private nonprofit organization that works closely hand in hand with the city of Detroit. We serve as Detroit's economic development agency, whereby we go out and facilitate growth and development by doing business attraction and
Mhm.
retention. We focus on small business development. We focus on marketing and branding the city, both domestically and internationally,
Mhm.
to try to bring more job opportunities into the city. We also work with the city in developing and redeveloping industrial properties to put them back into productive use.
Mhm.
And that has been something that we're very proud of, and we've had a measure of success in doing this work for over 45 years.
Wow.
Mayor Coleman Young stood up the DEGC back when he was mayor, and we've been continuously doing this work for over 40 years.
Yeah, absolutely. And one of the works or programs that the DGC is involved in is the Motor City Match program. Talk to me about how this program has definitely facilitated and matched entrepreneurs, small business owners to physical properties in the
Mhm.
city that have opened up and allowed them to
Yeah.
grow.
Well, Motor City Match does a multitude of things,
Mhm.
one of which is to help facilitate the opening of brick and mortar storefront
Mhm.
businesses in neighborhoods,
Mhm.
which is vitally important. And as you know, Detroit is made up of its neighborhoods. And yes, the downtown Detroit is a very, very integral part of Detroit's revitalization,
Mhm.
obviously. But if the neighborhoods aren't participating in that by developing entrepreneurial opportunities and growing and stabilizing storefronts that have been abandoned for decades,
Yeah.
Motor City Match was a tool for which we could address those types of issues. This Motor City Match program was a brainchild of Mayor Mike Duggan. And we had both state and federal and general fund resources to provide the dollars that it takes in order to run a program like this. I dare say that there's not a program like this in the country, but we've had a measure of success there as well. We've opened up 163 new brick and mortar businesses since the program started. We've distributed somewhere in the neighborhood of over 16 to 18 million dollars. That's facilitated about 87 million dollars in investment in neighborhoods. Right now, we're on a pace to distribute about $1 million a quarter. We just had our 24th round of awards a couple weeks ago. And we think that as long as the resources are there, there will be demand in our neighborhoods by entrepreneurs who want to see their dreams come to life. And we've done that.
That's amazing because, as not only a reporter, journalist,
Mhm.
and I'm asking these questions, but I drive across the city as a Detroiter, and I can see the vacant storefronts, the once abandoned storefronts that are now thriving and coming alive, because it does seem that there has been this work in hand with the DGC and the city of Detroit to bring these once abandoned commercial storefronts to life and matching them or partnering them with the needs of entrepreneurs who want to get inside of them.
Yeah.
You talk about the neighborhoods. This has definitely added to the value and stability of our neighborhoods. Correct?
Well, it most certainly has, and it's such a need because there are goods and services that without these kinds of programs, without these kinds of activations of storefronts in our neighborhoods, those dollars tend to escape our city and they don't come back. They don't circulate. The mark of a good city is the circulation of its dollars.
Yeah.
And so the more dollars we can circulate in and around our city, the better off our neighborhoods will be, the better off our citizens will be. And hopefully that translates into an opportunity for an entrepreneur to grow wealth and grow their business.
And let's talk about attracting businesses into the city. Well, that also comes with jobs that are being added as well. How does that conversation work when you're, facilitating both the creation of new jobs in the city and how that contributes to the overall economic growth of the city?
Well, when we're working with companies that aren't in our city, they are out of the state, they may be out of the region. We have to get to the fundamentals of why they are considering a location anywhere, much less Detroit. So we have to find out what the business case is. Why are you looking to come to Detroit? Is it you need regional operations center? Do you need access to our talent? Is this the next market for you to try to grow your business? And if all those things check yes, then we are in a posture of showing them what we have to offer. Well, what do we have to offer as a city? And that's really the question. And that's why, making these kinds of investments in public infrastructure is important. Making investments in parks, making investments on our riverfront, making investments in our workforce, the beautification of our neighborhoods, sidewalks. I treat economic development like I'm inviting you to my house. Right? And when you invite someone to your house, you want everything to be just right. So that you feel welcome when you come. You actually want to come back and spend more time. So why that's important is because when we get the welcome mat right, and we add in all the layers, all of the assets and amenities that the city of Detroit has to offer. We're one of 4 cities in America where all 4 of their sports teams are in the boundaries of the city. We're even more unique. All 4 of our sports teams are in downtown.
Which hadn't always been the case.
Always been the case. Right. But we're here now.
Right.
And I think the marketplace are responding to that. So those are the kinds of recreational and spectator assets that Detroit has. So we layer all that into our conversation when we are meeting with companies. But at the end of the day, it's all about talent. It's all about cost. And it's all about having a place that you feel welcome. And when those 3 things check, we have a reasonable chance. I'm not saying it's guaranteed. But we have a reasonable chance to stay engaged in the conversation.
And when you talk about, I was going to say, when you talk about talent being one of them, I was going to maybe equate that to also skill or labor market.
Absolutely.
Because at the same time, while you're providing this avenue for small businesses or those who want to come in, sometimes you don't always have the infrastructure right away for these entities, but you can lay the foundation. And part of laying that foundation, you're going to need developers, right?
You do. You absolutely need developers.
And how does the DGC play a role in supporting, say, Black developers?
Well, what we do is through the tools that have been made available through the state, such as enterprise zones, we can help lower the cost if that's a Black developer or any developer, particularly African American and minority developers. Those developers tend to invest in places that they know. And in Detroit, places that they know include neighborhoods, right?
Yeah.
So I keep going back to neighborhoods
Mm-hmm.
because Detroit is a city that's made up of its neighborhoods.
Yeah.
And no one knows your neighborhood better than someone who grew up in it.
Yeah, that's true.
You know?
And that's a good point that you make, because you get a narrative sometimes foster years long in of lots happening in downtown, but what about the neighborhood?
Yeah, and then if you keep going back to that, see, it's not a or proposition, it's an and proposition,
which goes back to the Mackinac Policy Conference.
Absolutely.
Which was the theme this year.
The power of and.
Yes.
And I'm a firm believer in that. Most interstates have two different directions, right? You can go north or south.
Yeah.
You just can't go north. You got to go north or south. You got to go east or west, not east and you go east or west. So we are trying to create a platform that when African American or minority owned developers come and work and talk to us, we roll out every tool available to us, from helping them with financing to helping them with tax abatements if need be. We will help them with enterprise zone designations if need be. We help them identify private financing if need be. So we are an extension of that developer, right? Because we know that the impact of what their investment is going to yield to that neighborhood, a level of stability, and quite frankly, confidence that someone's willing to put their dollars into a neighborhood that might have been neglected for decades. And so it is a value add that our organization has brought and will continue to bring to a population of developers who sometimes need more help than most.
And then finally, I wanted to touch on, the DGC does a great job at supporting businesses at the start. But what about the longevity of businesses who need the support to continue to grow, to continue to hire and create more jobs? I know there's also the Detroit Means Business.
Yes.
So talk to me a little bit more about that.
Yeah. So the first part of your question was around how do you support them when they are up and running? Well, I like to call that aftercare.
Okay.
Right. And we have team members within DEGC that work on retention, not only of larger enterprises, but smaller enterprises. And the reason why Detroit Means Business is so important is because this is a resource portal that without Detroit Means Business, a lot of small businesses would not have access to those resources. So we try to act as that one-stop shop, and I hate to overuse that, but this is a place where you can access resources that because of our brand and reputation, that those resources are solid, they're vetted. We can walk you through how to access those resources and put you in a position that you are in a better frame to grow your business because you plugged into Detroit Means Business as a support agency for your business growth. And so obviously, for those who don't know, Detroit Means Business was stood up during the pandemic when everybody didn't know where things were and how to get to them. And when you got to them, you didn't know how to use them. And so we worked through that process, but we also recognized along the way that just getting them to that point, which are what I like to call survival, which is where everybody was trying to get to. We were trying to survive.
I mean, that was a tough time.
We were trying to survive to stabilize. Okay, once you survive, you stabilize the patient, and then you want that patient to get better and grow and get healthy. So we're now in the grow and get healthy phase of DMB, and that's why we're doing things like the Small Business Owner Advocates going through a fellowship, 10-week kind of process where they're teaching and learning the real strong, hard fundamentals of what it takes to operate a business. Whether you've been in business for 20 years or 20 months. There's always something to learn. And so going through this, where they will report out at our DMB summit in 2024, what those experiences were, what did they learn, what takeaways could they share with their colleagues in the small business system. And so that fellowship is going to be starting really, really soon, with a report out on that at the DMB summit in 2024.
I know we got to run, but finally, to the small entrepreneur or small business entrepreneur or even outside entity looking to Detroit to invest, what is the pitch?
Well, the pitch is, when you come to Detroit, you should have a level of confidence that there are people and organizations that are designed to support you, not get you started and leave you, but to get you started and stay with you. When you come to Detroit, what we like to say is grow here, win together. So grow your business here and win together. And so that's our pitch. And there's evidence of our work all around this city. And no better testimonial than someone who's gone through the process, and they can witness to you that they had a positive experience by doing business here in Detroit.
Absolutely. Well, Kevin, it's always great to have you here.
Always good to be here.
And always good to talk to you, and then run into you at these different community events, because we know how the great work that you're doing with DEGC, which is investing in our communities and businesses across the city. So,
well, thank you.
As always,
thank you for what you're doing and keeping the word out on amongst our small businesses and business in general. You guys are a valuable asset. And we don't get as far in our lives without people who can get out great messages about what's happening in the city of Detroit.
Absolutely. We appreciate that. Kevin Johnson, President and CEO of the Detroit Economic Growth Corporation. You can learn more about this story and watch the full interview on our website at michiganchronicle.com. I'm digital anchor Andre Edge.